What?
Pretend like I'm squashing people.
I see. Well.
Oops.
It's what? Bakery. Right? Bakery.
So we just stopped by here for the bún bò Huế, but they
The chef went home. But yeah, we used to have the what is it called? Yamato?
Hey, this is Mike Moo, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the DJI Osmo Action camera. It is now September in 2020, and I've had the Osmo Action for a couple of months now. Now, I initially got it like everyone else, got it really early on, way when they were first released. And at that time, I think the GoPro Hero 8 was just about to be announced or about to be out around roughly the same time. So I got a chance to go ahead and test out both of them roughly around the same time. And back then, the early firmware was a little bit buggy. And so honestly, what happened was I decided that it wasn't worth it at that time. But fast forward several months, seems like almost a whole year later, and you can get one of these packages as pictured here for about $240. It's a really nice package, and even today it is just about impossible to find something at this price range with the qualities here. Obviously, the big thing I'm talking about is the dual screen function, which even today GoPro still has not released yet. It's just something that they promised a while back. There's been delays after delays after delays, and I think it's going to come out maybe next month. But even then, with the hassle of having to stick on something extra, I don't know. I really don't know if I would go that route if I had to do it all over again. Well, I own both of these, so I'll talk a little bit about the comparisons and the real-world testing between the two of them. So with this kit, you see you get a couple of mounts. You get a nice, I think, one battery in here, but they had a promo where they sold you a battery pack kit with it that comes with 2 batteries and an external charger. If you're going to be using this as your one of your primary cameras, I'm definitely going to recommend that you go ahead and get that kit as well. But this battery is pretty good. It has a built-in, actually, weather sealing unit as well, and it lasts about as much as you expect. If I recall correctly, in some of the ideal conditions, I was getting maybe about an hour of shoot time per battery. I'm not going to get super technical. I'll put the technical details up above. I'm just talking about real world, not lab use testing scenarios. Now in the summer, obviously things overheat quite a bit quicker. So I wouldn't count on the full hour outside in bright sunlight and heat. This, of course, charges via USB-C, and I don't believe that I can go ahead and use USB-C PD, just regular USB-C type charger out, and I have an QC version 2 and QC3 that seems to charge it just fine. Honestly, when you buy enough batteries, it's not too much of a concern, and I typically have more than enough power for my daily use anyway. So you get basically, you only get 2 mounts in here, as you can see, basically, really just one major mount that you can attach 2 different ways. So it has 2 sticky pieces on there. So in the front, another main thing about the DJI Osmo Action is that you can replace the lens yourself. You just basically rotate that out. And that lens has several coatings on there, so it actually repels a lot of, the water, oil, just dirt. It seems to repel pretty well. And I love the fact that it is replaceable. Now, on the GoPro, not so much. I have to do these sticky things on top of it that don't work well. The tempered glass thing doesn't work well. Yeah, you can stick on other filters and stuff on top, but it adds to the bulk. The case here is pretty unique. You can't really use any other case. You do have some third-party suppliers that have designed a case for you to go ahead and attach. This is ready to go. Swimming as is. You don't need to attach some sort of other protective layer on top of this. But if you want to take it diving, you're going to want to use somewhat of a more robust type of case. And I do find it somewhat annoying to remove, put it in and take it out. Once you get used to it, it's not too bad though. But it really only goes in one way, and sometimes I get it wrong. So if you're fumbling around with something like this in the dark or early bright stages in early dawn, you might mess it up a little bit, and also almost impossible for me to do appropriately in really thick gloves. Now, I've primarily used this in fair weather conditions in California, so I just want to point that out. If you plan on using this skiing and you need to change the batteries, you do have to remove it out of that case in order to go ahead and get access to it. So that is something that you need to be aware about. Right. The battery, of course, as you can see, is wide open. There is no battery door, so that makes it a little bit easier to go ahead and attach and remove, but also exposes you to potentially more issues in wet environments. So that's why they give you a battery case. I really like the size and the design of the unit overall. It's really small and compact, and I'll show you it side by side with the GoPro Hero 8. You'll probably want to get some screen protectors for DJI Osmo Action. I'll have links down below for that. I gotta say that the reflective part of the screen is okay. It's not super reflective. It's fairly okay to see outside during the daylight. Of course, it doesn't get super duper bright though. So that's something you need to consider. But luckily, the wide angle lens of all these action cameras makes it pretty easy to put yourself in framing. And on top of that, you can actually see some of the framing with the dual screen function on there. Here is the main mount. Basically, it's one mount with two sticky things that you can rotate and attach on, and they include both of those. Very similar to the GoPro Action series of mounts. I don't even know what it's called. We just call it GoPro mounts now. So here's GoPro Hero 8. As the way that I use it, I went ahead and bought the media mod, which allows me to go ahead and attach the microphone directly to it. And I like it. This is the way I use it primarily. Unfortunately, with some of the accessories I was hoping to use, the GoPro Hero 8 included an ND filter thing that does not work with a Hero 8 mod. Notice how significantly bigger this package is, and that doesn't even include the dual screen option. That is something that you can add on to the media mod. So that part is a bit annoying, but it does have hot shoe, right? And has direct connection externally to both HDMI USB-C port and the microphone port, plus two little hot shoe mounts for you to go ahead and add on audio. So that I feel like it's an okay compromise. The problem is that I found the stability of the GoPro Hero 8 to be not as great for whatever reason when I have the media mod on. Sometimes it will freeze and not power back on, so I got to take it out, take out the battery, stick it back in order to get working on that. Now, initially I had problems like that with the DJI Osmo Action in early firmwares, but lately it's been really stable. I haven't had the issues that I still currently have with the GoPro Hero 8, strangely enough. And I just don't understand why GoPro can't get that fixed up, but they haven't yet. So the size-wise, when you remove them from the case, as you can see, is fairly close. I still prefer the DJI Osmo Action. Here's one part the DJI Osmo Action does not do as well, and that is the stabilization. I feel like the GoPro Hero 8 stabilization is better overall in my usage, and without cropping too much of the actual viewable footage or recorded footage. Whereas the DJI Osmo Action, when you put on the maximum stabilization, it's pretty good. But the problem is that now you have a fairly much more narrow angle point of view, which could be a little bit of a problem if you are self-vlogging and you're holding it at arm's length, which is a lot of times what I do. And that's just something to consider. Also, GoPro Hero 8, of course, has the built-in mount, which is just ingenious. It just flips down. There's nothing like that for the DJI Osmo Action at all for that. Overall, I find obviously there's different uses for these two different devices, so it makes sense that they're both competing in a similar space. But, if I really had to choose one overall, I'd rate right now the DJI Osmo Action as the better choice for a lot of people. Of course, with those caveats, I just think the money that you save, the bundle that you get, and the fact that you get dual screen makes a lot of sense for a vlogger or someone who is looking to get into a newer 4K camera. All right, that's it for this little video. I will have another one about the charging kit that I recommend that you go ahead and get as well. And of course, if you want to see some of the latest footage that I get from the DJI Osmo Action itself, you can just check out some of my more recent videos. And I've just been using this as a B cam a lot of times when I'm out traveling. All right, that's it for this video. Please give it a like, subscribe for more, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.